This is obviously about the man's poor pets being killed. That's right. But think of the constitutional issues involved in raiding a man's home over a dispute about a wild animal he may have been keeping as a pet. There was this story last year that I think kind of shook a lot of people, and a lot of people who aren't normally interested in politics. And it was the home invasion by state bureaucrats and the taking of 2 family pets and then the euthanizing of those 2 family pets that shocked Americans to their core. And it happened in New York State to poor Peanut the squirrel and the other pet. I don't know if we have video, Fred the raccoon. So this couple had these 2 animals, which are typically wild. I guess that's what the bureaucrats would say. Oh, they're wild animals, so we got to go get them. Of course, they didn't need to do that. So they raided this man's home and took those animals and euthanized them because I don't know why. I mean, there have been a variety of reasons why. And people are outraged. You come in and take a man's pets for no good reason and kill them? So Judicial Watch being what Judicial Watch is, we asked some questions of state authorities about what went on at that raid. It got national headlines. It became a point of contention in the presidential election. And what happens is you get these battles during presidential elections and we're supposed to move on. I mean, this was a wild abuse of power by all accounts, so we want some information and accountability for it. So that's why we filed a Freedom of Information law. It's FOIA in New York. Lawsuit just the other day against the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. Well, that's an interesting way of conserving our environment and our wildlife by killing pets. And we sued for records about the seizure, testing, and euthanizing of a squirrel named Peanut and a raccoon named Fred belonging to Pine City, New York resident Mark Longo. And this is the game that we had to, this is the gamesmanship we had to deal with up in New York, because there are there's a peculiar aspect to New York FOIA law that makes it a little more complicated to deal with. They can essentially grant themselves extension after extension, and you just basically how long you're going to tolerate. So we filed the lawsuit up in the state of New York after, it's in Albany County, after the Department of Environmental Conservation failed to comply with 2 requests for written and video records related to Peanut and Fred. The first, filed on November 6th, seeks records related to the seizure, testing, and euthanizing of the animals, including, again, Squirrel and Fred. And we want to know, what was the complaint that led to the raid? Oh, there's a picture of Fred. There's poor Fred. Their internal communications, and the back and forth. You know what we want. They know what we want. I mean, how many records could there be on that? Not many. All body-worn camera audio and video footage and dash cam audio video footage captured by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation and its partner agencies related to this incident where they went to his home. And this is what happened. Since November, when we first filed the request, the state agency has granted itself 2 30-day extensions and then a 60-day extension to not respond to Judicial Watch's request. 10 government agents from the State Department of Environmental Conservation and Health reportedly showed up at Longo's home, where he operates an animal sanctuary, and took his squirrel and raccoon, later killing them. And this is the quote: "They treated me like I was a terrorist. They treated this raid as if I were a drug dealer. They ransacked my house for 5 hours." He told the New York Post that Peanut the squirrel, also known as P-Nut, P-N-U-T, was popular on social media. And of course, as I said earlier, that a lot of people were outraged about it. And I don't think you have to be a Republican or a Democrat to be outraged about it. It was on its face an abusive overreaction in the least by state agency bureaucracies. The heartless killing of Peanut the squirrel by New York State bureaucrats shocked America. And now these same bureaucrats don't want to turn over one document about Peanut's death and their abusive raid on Peanut's home. Judicial Watch's lawsuit aims to get to the bottom of this abuse of government power. So this is what I love about Judicial Watch. We've got our major federal lawsuit over California's this terrible election system that allows the vote of people to arrive 7 days after election and still be counted. We've got this major lawsuit over Fani Willis. Major federal FOIA lawsuits over corruption like you wouldn't believe here in Washington, D.C. But these two pets of this man were taken and killed as a result of an abusive raid by some environmental agency in New York. And we are on that as well. That's why I love Judicial Watch. That's why you should love Judicial Watch. Because I don't want to overstate how important this is, but this is pretty darn important in the sense of this contempt for the rights of citizens. This is obviously about the man's poor pets being killed. That's right. But think of the constitutional issues involved in raiding a man's home over a dispute about a wild animal he may have been keeping as a pet. Incredible. And I don't remember if they were armed, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it was a danger. It's just an inherently dangerous situation to go, and the police will tell you, be the first ones to tell you this. To go in with a raid like this is dangerous. It's dangerous for the police or law enforcement or the personnel involved in this case. It's dangerous for the families or the owners and the residents of the home. So rather than protecting the public, in my view, this raid endangered the public safety, and these two poor animals were killed as a result. And Americans, and I think this is fair to say, most people elsewhere in the world don't like it when innocent animals are killed by government officials in this blasé way. And we want the truth about what went on. What's the state secret, Albany? What's the state secret, New York State? So I'll let you know if we get any Peanut documents. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.